This week in comic books, War for Earth 3 comes out. It's not really a war for Earth 3, is it? They did it. They did the thing in DC. They did the thing. And I'm just over in the land of Marvel, we get a brand new fresh look at a new type of Sorcerer Supreme for the third time in 12 months. Like, this has happened 3 times in 12 months. And right before Multiverse of Madness. Whoever the marketing director is over at Marvel, you need to go take a basic marketing class because you're lost, son. You're lost. Don't care. You're lost. You don't change your brand. You have a big launch. Oh, all that and a stack full of comic books, but no indies this week. We'll talk about it right after that intro. Hey, what's going on, you wonderful weirdos? Pocan Joe here, and as always, super happy that you're here. Can't wait to jump into these books, but quick as a caveat, I did not pick up any independents this week. My shop only apparently ordered like 3, and they were in the middle of a story, and I was just like, I'm saving some money this week. So it allowed me to get a little venturous with a few other books that I normally don't read. So first we're going to start off with War for Earth 3, number #1, right? Hashtag, I can't help it. It used to be pound, but now it's hashtag. Regardless. So in this book, basically, it's the Suicide Squad story, only Amanda Waller has been capturing different people and basically building a suicide army at this point. They all go attack Earth 3. And it seems like they're trying to take it over or maybe do something good, like get the crime syndicate out of the picture, right? Ultraman and the Owl and all those cats. Ha ha ha! Nope, it's really a team up, and I can do things for you, Amanda Waller tells Ultraman, as long as you help me take care of Rick Flag and his friend. So Rick Flag's gonna bite the dust again. Like, we've just been treating that character like garbage. I don't know. But regardless, so Ultraman falls into the deal. This is interesting. I really like this. What I didn't like about this is they did the thing, and you heard me say that at the intro. They did the thing where you read this one, and then you immediately know the continuation of the story is going to be in the Suicide Squad main line, and then there's, of course, this is issue 1, so there'll be issue 2, and so on. So they're going to kind of do this flippity-floppity thing where they go back and forth, where if you want the full story, right, you're going to have to go back and forth, which means you're buying an extra comic book. Normally that wouldn't bother me, but when it's so blatant, it just kind of crawls me a little bit, right? It's like, oh, you know what grinds my gears? Like an old man. And they're doing the thing. That's what I call the thing. But in this, Owlman and Diana Troy kind of having some adult activities. And Ultraman's like, nah, I'm not cool with that. Get a little cheetah action in here. You get a very different type of Clayface in here. And we kind of get introduced not so much to a new character, but the transition or origin of somebody changing into their superhero persona in here. Basically, she's a sand lady, and if she throws sand in your eyes, apparently you fall asleep. A little lackluster, right? He's like, sleep. It's not terribly original, but again, that's not why you're reading this. You're reading this for Amanda Waller, and you're reading this for the crime syndicate doing their thing, and that's probably the better part of the story. Next, Monkey Prince, number 2. So, I read number 1. I really enjoyed it. And then I heard other people's reviews. And a lot of people didn't like it. And they were like, what's with this head falling off? That's stupid. And blah, blah, not blah, blah, blah. I get the criticisms out there. I get it. But it's the same thing as if I said Zeus, who throws lightning bolts. Right? We know Zeus. We were taught Zeus at some point. We've seen movies with Zeus in it. This deals with Chinese mythology. So if you took Zeus and you put him in China, people would be like, why is the guy throwing the thing that makes the lights turn on? Right? You can make the same argument there is what I'm trying to relate here. Part of the mythos of the Monkey Prince is that his head can come off. This is used several times in a story to help get out of sticky situations, whatever the case may be. He also rides on clouds and things like that. There are some things on Netflix that kind of deal with the Monkey Prince where you can kind of get an understanding of the lore. I recommend them. They're fun to some degree. They're not high quality by no means. So that's kind of the thing there. In this story, we get the acceptance, right? This is the acceptance of this is what I am. First, there was the this was kind of cool. No, I really don't like this, to the acceptance of it. Mom and dad are still working for villains at the end of the day. Kid does not know. Everybody tries to act as normal as they can, but we also find out that the penguin is now the golden horned penguin. Again, another that whole conversational piece in here. If you've read this, is all taken right out of Chinese lore, including the two demons, the golden penguin, and even the mysterious villain beyond the shadows, if you will, the one pulling all the strings, right? So this hits on all cylinders for me. I really like it, and a strong component of sharing other stories out there, not just changing things, but actually sharing other culture stories. And I like it, and their characters, and we can mainstream this stuff. And I think that's why I like this. Nerdy kid, it's kind of like a Spider-Man slash. It's a lot of Spider-Man actually, but he can do some cool things with some wackiness. And you know what? It kind of reminds me of the current runs of Shazam, right? Billy Batson in the Academy, and the artwork's definitely similar, and kind of like a Spider-Man type thing. It's kind of cool. I've been enjoying it. But again, I understand some of that lore, or I don't understand it. I've read some of that lore, so I kind of get it. So yeah, we'll move on to the next thing. Pick of the week. Pick of the week. Killing Time, and of course I had to get that cover right. Get it. So, elaborate bank heist for what would appear to be super simple. It kind of does this thing where it jumps around playing with time and exact time, like at 5:45, Batman's punching, Killer Croc in the mouth, right? And so on and so forth. But it kind of reminded me of Guy Ritchie movies where you get like a moment, after the movie's about to end, and then they kind of do the flashbacks of everything that happened, with the funky music. Yeah, that's what this book kind of reminded me of. I really enjoyed that. Very elaborate heist. We don't know what it is that need to be stolen yet. We have the Riddler, my favorite. Penguin, Catwoman involved. Of course, Batman's in it, but he's not really the focus in it. He was just merely being distracted. Killer Croc was in it as well, or Croc, or whatever we're calling him now. So that whole thing was kind of happened just to steal a box. We don't know what's in the box, but I can't wait to see what's in the box. It sounds like it's going to be something weird. And also, a key point in this is there was your a twist is about to happen page if you didn't catch the story that was mentioned in here and how it worked. So, little hint to you. You might want to go back and take a look at it. I think there's some foreshadowing in there as well. Man, I hope so. All right. Next, Arkham City. New World Order. This finally closes. Professor Pig is running a back alley asylum, is the best way to put it. Debating if I want to touch on a sensitive subject or not. Let's walk through this and see how it goes. So, I am not a component of crazy fixing crazy. Not a component of it. Now, with that said, I do find group therapy and things like AA and NA and things like this as a benefit to individuals. But I do not see it as psychological help for individuals, right? Those things just build communities to show that other people are suffering from this and we can work through it. That's a cool concept. I get that, but actual psychological issues. Not to say addiction isn't a psychological issue, but it's not schizophrenia. We'll put it that way. Okay. I don't think if you stick a bunch of schizophrenics into a room and say, "Hey, live, laugh, love, and pray," and you'll get better. Right? I'm not buying that. This book is kind of showing us that maybe it could. I guess that's what I'm getting from it. Maybe I'm missing the writer's point in it. The ending didn't really make much sense to me in this. Professor Pig is now working on people's minds. If you don't know Professor Pig, he likes to make things perfect. And now he's kind of dabbling in minds. And he's got people in there. And it would seem like he's helping them. Like the Mad Hatter sat him down in front of a TV with the fuzzies. And was like, hey, it's interdimensional, they're communicating to you. And then, of course, he just stares at it all day long. And it's like, that's not healthy. But it subdues him. One could make the argument, what's the difference between that and a handful of pills that we currently use today? I would fight that fight for you, definitely. But at the end, this is just a nightmarish story. We let Azazel out of his cage for some reason. He starts hacking and chopping people. Ten-Eyed Man kind of vaguely told the future, and it kind of sort of came true where Dr. Joy eventually ends up dying trying to save the Ten-Eyed Man after betraying the Ten-Eyed Man, which he kind of predicted. So yeah, this gets weird. I'm not a big component of the ending. Like, why would they think that was a good idea? Like, that was never really explained. They spent time explaining all the other patients and their therapeutic methods that they were going through. And then it was like, we've had him chained up for 3 days. Let's let him out and see what happens. And mind you, this is the guy that literally just wants to kill everybody. I don't know. Second pick of the week. That's right, I got two. Steel, right? Oh man, I love me some good Shakespearean, Arthurian type tales. I really do, and this is good. This is the. I don't want to sound weird when I say this, but I would say that this is more of the women empowerment issue. There are women in this lore. They're strong. They're beautiful. They're doing all the gorgeous things. No doubt about that. We got Ivy in here. We got Wonder Woman, and we got Supergirl. Kind of taking up the majority of this story with how they're complicated their relationships are, and who's going to be helping and who's not. Bruce Wayne makes the fatal mistake of telling Superman that, yeah, I'm your dad's bastard son. That doesn't work out well. He stabs him with a piece of kryptonite and throws him away. And then we get the Superman origin story, slightly twisted, as he lands in a field where a family's going to pick him and kind of wound him or nurse him back to health. I thought that was a little bit of a shortcut, really, in the writing. Like, I think we're beyond origin stories being reused in this. But it is enjoyable. Like, I don't hate it or anything. I was like, really? Okay, maybe the next issue will give us something slightly different. Another book that ended this week would be Batman vs. Brigsby. Again, if you're not into the Fable lore, I was not into the Fable lore. The ending may not make a whole lot of sense to you because we get introduced to a character from the Fable genre of this particular story too. I don't know who this ghost lady is. It was just kind of thrown in there. Lost me a little bit. But for the most part, I would say 90% of this book I really did enjoy. Like the whole series. I thought it was great. Again, just a few hiccups here and there where you didn't really, like, I'm sure the character was explained at some point. Maybe I just didn't make the connection. I'm not really sure. But all in all, not a bad series. Next, Moon Knight. Oh, have you been reading Moon Knight? So we have a new Midnight Mansion, and it's a haunted house. Or an interdimensional ghost house. Maze, living being thing. It's hard. But I like this because we actually saw Moon Knight do something kind of rare. Yes, he's been nice to people before, but we actually saw empathy in this. And there's a big difference between just being nice to somebody and actually showing empathy and providing somebody with value in their own life. And that's what he ultimately did to this house because he understood with it. It made sense to him, and I thought that was pretty good. Like that was pretty ingenious. And in such case, the house is now his new headquarters, right? Which is a living being that has mazes and stuff in it, and didn't even fault it for eating 3 people. That's a little rough. But regardless, I liked that. It's good to see empathy. A lot of people get, being nice confused with empathy. I would much rather somebody be empathetic to me than nice to me. I don't care about your niceness. Can you empathize? That's the key there. And that's very different. Next, Devil's Reign, Spider-Man. Oh, and screw you. It's not Spider-Man. It's that Ben Reilly character yet again. I know. Technically, it's Spider-Man. I know you can make that claim because he's a clone or whatever. I'm not interested in anything with Beyond Corporation, Ben Raleigh, like I can't get on board with those stories. I have tried. I just stick. You know, maybe I'm a jerk, whatever. I'm just not being convinced of it. With that said, I really enjoyed Wilson Fisk's son in here. This this guy. By the way, if you're going to name a villain, I'm just throwing this out there as a piece of advice. Why from somebody from Marvel would even bother listening to me, I don't know. I get you want to have a sophisticated character. It really likes his clothes, and you know it does add another level of sadisticness to it. But if your character's going to be sadistic, then make them sadistic. Don't make them squeamish because they're afraid to get a little blood on some expensive wool. Like that that was a thing in here, and I was just like, oh, I was on board, but he's not going to use the knife, or it's more of an afterthought. I don't want to mess my clothes up. Like what? Put on a bag or an apron. I wear aprons. So yeah, I don't get this. And this whole haircut debacle thing he's got going on there, where it's you see that right? You see this right here. Why is it dark and blonde at the top? Like what do you? How do you even get that? It looks horrible. It looks horrible. I should be judging people's haircuts. I haven't gotten one in months, but that's because it's. I don't know. I didn't much care for this, and I'm not really sure what the actual tie-in is. Just this villain the entire time is monologuing to us of what it would take to have foresight and be villainous, and what you need to do, and how he can fill in the gaps for his father. But what ultimately he doesn't do is he does not follow through on anything, and I'm just like, oh, you're not that interesting. Like he started off really cool, and then just kind of, oh, don't want to mess up my silk gloves or cashmere gloves. It was something weird. Okay. So, Scotty Young issue. We buy a comic book, we read a comic book. I was going to pass on this one. If I seemed harsh at the beginning of the video, good. Because I'm going to be harsh, right? This is the blast, or not the blast, I'm sorry. This is the junk dumpster fire of the week. I get if you like the character and you like where this is going. My annoyance with this has nothing to do with this story. She doesn't have to be Sorcerer Supreme. She can be Sorcerer Supreme. I don't care about that. But the problem is that we've been trying to, in comic books, especially in Marvel, we've been kind of shoved into this female Sorcerer Supreme thing, which is fine, right? But you never changed the character. This is the same as all the last two. They're overconfident, snarky, whatever the case may be. You just change the situation and the environment around them. And they don't read well. And she doesn't read well. Like, I don't know what the deal is. It's not I'm worried about strong female empowerment things. Can you imagine a woman that's married to me? And I've been married for, oh God, I hope she's not listening. I want to say 24 years. And my wife is pretty much in charge, like, and I'm fine with that. I don't like doing mundane things or overthinking things. That's her thing. She's in charge of it. She does that. But I'm reading this, and like there were some seriously just funny points in it. But we hit all the same tropes that we've been hitting when every time we put a woman in charge or make a woman a primary character by switching roles. We make coffee and alcohol, drinking wine, kind of like the beginning things at the front of the story, right? I guess that's to relate to us in some way. And then there's always a guy that's kind of cool with everything she does. Wong in this one seems a lot nicer and willing to do whatever this Sorcerer Supreme says than he has with any of the male counterparts for some reason. Oh, he's also getting drunk all the time too. We always have to have a very well-known sadistic villain get talked down to, right? And this one, Dr. Doom, got put in his place by her. Right? Okay, fine. And she's overly she dropped a bunch of bodies just because they invaded a place. It's not even her responsibility. Like, that was weird to me. Like, why just drop the bodies like that? Couldn't you cage them up, put them in? She can't because she's from another dimension. Like, it was a weak excuse. And I'm like, I'm not feeling this character. It doesn't feel like a hero in any way whatsoever. It feels like a villain. It feels like another version of Doctor Doom. I'm in charge. It happens this way. Here's my coffee. Here's my wine. You're dead. And the last two did that as well. And I'm just like, plus, let's say you want to get back into comic books, you've been out for a while, and you know the Multiverse of Madness is coming up. You know it's a Doctor Strange book, and you're like, hey, let me go do a little reading on this Doctor Strange guy. You go down there and you read the last year of Doctor Strange. He's died on you. He's been put in his place several times. He's lost his rank. Like, he is the saddest character in Marvel if you've read his books over the last year. I'll challenge you to find one that's been sadder. I'll wait. Like, I'm just saying. So I don't know. I'm not digging this. If this was a villain, it would read the same way. There wouldn't be any difference. So yeah, that's my dumpster fire for the weekend. My small rant. I apologize for that. But hey, that's my haul this week. What did you think? Are you reading any of these? Am I missing something? Am I not connecting something together? Let me know down in the comments down below. Nothing major going on in the community right now. Congratulations to Comic Vet on his 600 subscribers. Good job, man. That's not an easy task. And of course, I'll see all of you the rest of sometime this weekend. Hopefully something or other. I'm ranting. I'll talk to you all later. Bye.